Christian Bale as Gorr could so get under Thor's skin?
Guys, I think Christian Bale is going to be Silver Surfer.
Christian Bale has had all of these body types. Baby Groot, BB-8.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll grow the board. Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's the Black Shirt Edition.
Oh my God.
I'm Filup Molina. I wear baby shirts, according to Marina. I've watched those, Marina. This is Rogue Theory, by the way, and we're calling people out. But today,
Starting with me.
Just Marina.
Yeah.
Actually, who we're calling out is what's the Dark Knight doing in the Thor movie?
That's right.
Yeah.
Christian Bale is going to be in the Thor movie, and we're going to have some rogue theories about why and who. Speaking of who, with me is Erik Voss.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Yay. Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Tommy Bechtold.
Hello.
Yay.
And Marina Mastros. Do you have
Yep.
anything to say to me?
I'm so sorry.
It's really hard to find shirts that fit.
Hard to
It
find
just
baby
is.
shirts small enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You can borrow one of mine.
Oh, it's just a thunder shirt for me, and it
Oh,
keeps
yeah.
me
Oh,
from low
yeah.
anxiety.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, on this episode, we're going to theorize the real reason, the in-universe real reason that Kevin Feige changed the WandaVision release date. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but we're going to explain why he did that, maybe. So, it came out this week that Christian Bale is in talks to play a role in Thor: Love and Thunder, Taika Waititi's follow-up to Thor Ragnarok. He's a major star already,
Yeah.
obviously. He's played one of the most iconic superheroes of all time, Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
And then he was in those
Dick Cheney.
yeah, and he was in those bad guy movies.
Oh, yeah.
But that's such a huge actor to be bringing in to just the third or fourth Thor movie.
And historically, when DC actors do Marvel movies, it doesn't work out. Deadpool being a great example. He was amazing as Green Lantern, and then Deadpool fell flat.
Yeah, what a joke. Yeah. So this is a huge actor, one of the biggest actors to bring in at this stage, this late in the franchise. So it's got to be a significant role. I'm going to take a character off the table, though.
Okay.
And that's Beta Ray Bill. Because even though everyone is rumoring it to be that character, I'm just going to throw out there Christian Bale's too big an actor to get a weird horse face thing put on under
Give him a
it.
chance. He could work out and get his face
Yeah, I mean,
to
he's
stretch.
transformed
He could gain 80
before.
pounds in the face.
In the face, just in the face.
Yeah.
I did it recently. But
Me too.
this is why you and I
Our father and son.
connect. Yeah, so well. Our broken DNA. So that character is really fun and interesting, and a robot who's as worthy as Thor, kind of really ridiculous
Clever Knight,
character.
yeah, he's
But
weird alien.
let's say not that
Okay.
character.
Okay.
Because I think we're gonna see this guy's face. Is my guess.
Okay.
So, who do we got?
Well, what
are
better
our things?
face to bring into a Thor movie than that of Gorr the God Butcher?
Ooh.
Okay.
So when Taika announced that they were going to do this movie at Comic-Con last summer, they talked about he was going to adapt Jason Aaron's The Mighty Thor series, which features Jane Foster picking up Mjolnir. But leading up to the Mighty Thor series was the original Sin series, and that's the one that followed Gorr the God Butcher, who is this like serial killer who hates all deities in the Marvel universe because he lost his family on this desolate homeworld. He prayed to the deities, to Odin, to help him out, and they got murdered. So now he's pissed, and he carries this this necro sword. He's a badass, and he goes after Thor, and his idea is to depower Thor. And there's a moment where later in the comics, Nick Fury whispers something into Thor's ear, and we don't find out what it is, and Thor just drops the hammer and walks away from being the god of thunder. And later we find out the thing that Fury whispered in his ear was Gorr was right, and that Thor is not worthy. No one's worthy of being a god. So then Thor leaves Mjolnir behind, and who picks it up later is Jane Foster and this other storyline. So I think what we're going to see is Christian Bale as Gorr the God Butcher, one of the craziest badass god killers in the Thor comics. And he's going to follow in the footsteps of Cate Blanchett, who is another great thespian actor who I never would have thought would be
me
in a
neither.
Marvel movie, let alone a goofy cosmic Taika Waititi Thor movie. And I think when Bale saw Cate Blanchett do that, he's like, oh, I could do this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully they'll give him better hair because they did her dirty with that hair.
I really like the idea,
Yay!
Eric just got a rogie, of somebody who can take down gods. I think that is one of my favorite things. So they obviously sample a lot from Greek stories and
Norse
in Greek
mythology.
mythos, and the idea of a normal man being able to take down a god or being even comparable to a god. I mean, Odysseus is an example of that, somebody who's as wise as
Prometheus
the gods.
and trick the gods.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's always like such a fascinating role to play. And I love when Thor acknowledges that they, obviously it's Norse mythos with them, but acknowledges like we're gods and we kind of just play around with that, but we don't really acknowledge like what that means, that literally in the world where there are superheroes, we're still above those characters even. We're freaking gods. So a character that specifically goes off after that title is really interesting.
And if we're gonna have Natalie Portman come back as Jane Foster, this sets up all that. Like Gorr, Christian Bale as Gorr could so get under Thor's skin that's what forces him to leave. In this case, it would be Stormbreaker behind, but it seems like the Comic-Con panel was Mjolnir, which is weird because that's been shattered, unless we're in an alternate universe or something.
Which we could be.
Yeah.
Tommy, you said that it would be more interesting as Al Gore the God Butcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
mean,
would be more interesting.
I mean, he comes with a message of awareness, an impending doom.
That's true.
I'll tell you an inconvenient truth. You've let Asgard burn.
Yeah, I mean, really, climate change is what brought down Asgard, isn't it? If we really think about it.
Why does he sound like Hulhauser?
Yeah, I was thinking he sounds also like that dog.
Hulhauser is like 8 octaves high.
You mean a dog?
Is it the dog that talks to Homer or something?
Find your soulmate, Homer.
Anybody have any reasons why Eric's wrong?
I don't have a reason.
I have a couple.
I don't have a reason why he's wrong. I just have a better reason.
Ooh.
A better theory.
Of Christian Bale's character in Thor God and Thunder.
Yes.
Love and Thunder.
So I think it's a family affair. I think we're going to see where have we left Asgard off? It's New Asgard now, somewhere in like Canada or something like that.
It's in
Tjonsberg, Norway.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Norway, where they filmed Frozen. So Valkyrie's in charge. Thor has stepped away, but I think there's going to start to be some beacons in the universe because we got to take this thing back to space. And what we're going to see is some ancient Asgardians who have been cast out by Odin or by other forces throughout time or have left under their own volition are going to start to reconvene to build a new Asgard up in space. And what we're going to have there then is going to be a summoning, and the Asgardians in New Asgard are going to be like, all right, we got to go back. Led by Valkyrie. Oh. And once they're all together, it's going to be a bit of a power struggle Game of Thrones situation with different people laying claim to the throne of
That's
Asgard.
cool.
Enter Kulborson, brother of Odin, uncle of Thor.
I love this already.
And he steps in as a bit of a, like, at first an advisory, a friendly role. Like, let me help you. Like, kind of a little finger almost, like a very smooth, like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
I know all these players. I know the bureaucracy. I know how to establish a new kingdom. But what we don't realize is Kulborson, who in the comics is kind of a bit of a beige blank canvas, is not really Kulborson at all, everyone.
What?
It's a backdoor. It's Owen Reese, Molecule Man, who, as we know, is actually just a form of Beyonder. So this is an introduction to a massive Marvel villain who, for 3/4 of the movie, we think is Kulborson, but in actuality...
I don't think it's a vanilla character, by the way. It's the god of fear.
He's neutral.
When you're not afraid of anything, he doesn't bother you. I'm afraid of a lot of things. I sleep with a light on still. I'm 36 with a huge electricity bill. Anyway, no, but I think Kulborson's not vanilla, but he's definitely a character that no one's going to be like, I needed to see him through 3 movies. But as a conduit to introduce a huge, massive villain, I think you could have him just really an actor of Christian Bale's character chewing the scenery as this advisor, seemingly without an agenda, father figure to Valkyrie, and also we're gonna have Jane Foster in there somewhere. So presumably they're going to team up, or maybe he's manipulating Thor against Valkyrie or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe he's establishing seeds of doubt, and then to reveal this massive kind of manipulator that the Beyonder is through Molecule Man, who is another huge villain, but they're kind of all interconnected because they're basically one entity. But Owen Reese gets part of Beyonder and becomes Molecule Man, who's one of the more powerful villains in the Marvel cinematic world, or not cinematic, but Marvel comic universe right now. So I think it's just a great way to introduce a massive movie star for 3 more movies.
Yeah, I get that. I think that I'm into the reason I was so into the call part is, you mentioned Game of Thrones actually, and it is very similar to, you can think of Call kind of as what's his face with the ships?
Urine Greyjoy?
Yeah, the Euron Greyjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's
Urine. It's pronounced urine?
yeah, PP Greyjoy.
Piss Greyjoy?
Where your uncle is, you know, the threat to your throne, right? So this is Thor's uncle, Cole, who is as powerful as his dad, and as every boy knows, your dad is the strongest person alive.
Yeah.
So this character has Odin-level powers. That being a challenge to Valkyrie or Thor or whatever is like, imagine, you know, Thor fighting Odin, and that's something that we kind of get to see with Cole. But I do agree that sounds like it would last about a movie, and then we'd be like, great, God versus God fight, which is really interesting.
Right. But we've had in the previous
with
Thor
Hela,
movies.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So I do see how that could kind of like peter out. I'm going to give you a Rogie real quick because I'm still on this first thing. Also, I'll throw out there's the idea that Cole creates kind of dark Asgard. And in Antarctica in the comics, that is really fascinating because a legion of dark Asgardians versus Asgardians, and now we have a civil war within Asgardians.
Wow.
That's really interesting to me. And then you made it the Beyonder thing, and so for that you get a little Beyond 1 point bonus quarter Rogie.
Rogie had a baby. We're all a family now.
Yeah.
This is nice.
I didn't.
Guys, we all have black shirts on. This is great. We're all doing it.
Eric doesn't know he's pregnant. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Everything's happening for
That
us.
explains the big ass.
For your whole life.
The first sign of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Massive ass.
That boy got a big ass.
Oh my god. We might have
Everybody
one
knows.
Yeah.
This could be a double announcement if big asses are the qualifier. All right. Anyway.
Like people are walking up to women on the street being like who have big asses and not big stomachs, but being like, "Girl, you pregnant?
You're glowing.
Yeah, exactly.
When are you due?
How far along are you?
When are you due?"
Do not do any of this.
Yeah, don't do that.
Or
But it would
blame
be
Marina.
funny. I can do it. I'm the only one who can do it. No, not even I can do it.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, no one is. But we do all have black shirts
Vision
on, so
weirdly
we're fine.
is worthy.
Guys, I think Christian Bale is going to be Silver Surfer.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
right.
and along Tommy's lines, he's there. He's gonna introduce. Basically, he's there to connect to a bigger. What are you doing? That you're making fun of me.
I was laughing because you forgot Tommy's name for a second.
I was laughing because who would be along Tommy's lines?
Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
The
Well,
herald of,
along Tommy's lines in the introduction of a much bigger, bad
host?
guy.
Oh.
No, Silver Surfer is going to connect us to Galactus.
Yeah.
Okay, so also Christian Bale is known for like changing his body, right, for roles
sure,
and stuff.
yeah.
And Silver Surfer is like this long, lanky, like very thin
Yeah, we have a
dude.
visual aid on the
Jacked.
shelf behind you.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you compare him to the twins from The Shining, he is triple height,
Christian Bale has had all of these body types. Baby
Yeah.
Groot, BB-8.
and he'll grow the board.
He'll grow the board.
Yeah.
Just give him another month.
Like just as if Christian Bale doesn't want to have this six pack.
man.
Or doesn't already have it.
Or doesn't already have it, right? There's a little dust on this, okay? So
No,
he's,
that's from our Halloween episode. It's the complex.
okay, great. And in the beginning of the movie, we might even see him as before him in his human form, before he becomes Silver Surfer, right? So we might get to see his origin because Christian Bale wants to. I mean, he's a huge star. He wants to be a well-rounded character, but he also doesn't really want to be in a ton of superhero movies, as we know, because he's not. He already did that.
Sure.
So, but I can see him, like wanting to do this one and done, and then he introduces, Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus. So he gets introduced. He brings about. This is him doing it. He brings about Galactus by the end of the
Careful,
movie.
he's gonna show up here.
Yeah. That's
And
your
then-
heralding hand.
Christian Bale.
That's a herald
We don't want
hand,
either of those.
And then by the end of the movie,
do a bad
he's
improv.
done. He's made $1 bajillion and he can go back to his mansion. But having done some nice art with Natalie Portman and played a really good, interesting Silver Surfer, and then we're off to the races with Galactus, you guys.
And
And
Silver
Christian
Surfer just
Bale
ejects.
has like the
Yeah, yeah.
jawline of like Silver Surfer. He's got a very like I'm thinking to Patrick Bateman like peel. What do you do? The
Yeah.
facial peel. Like I could see
100%.
that like just sprayed with silver, and that being your Silver Surfer.
Totally.
I mean, I definitely am into this authoritative version of Christian Bale. I think he could pull pull that off. It was Morpheus's voice, right, in the previous Fantastic Four.
And Doug Jones' body.
Yeah. Remember I saw Lawrence Fishburne in a garage once.
Oh my God, really?
He's like working on his
broken
car.
at Lawrence Fishburne's house.
Yeah.
Garage.
Yeah. It was
his garage.
Yeah. It was his home / office. Anyway, so I'm super into the idea of bringing in Silver Surfer. I don't love the idea of and then immediately getting rid of him.
Not immediately, but by the end
I'm
of
giving
the
you a
movie.
quarter Rogie.
Oh, a baby.
Because we only get Silver Surfer for not long enough.
Well,
and
it's
so
because Christian
cool.
Bale doesn't want to be in a ton of superhero movies, but he does like money, so he's doing it.
You have the potential to grow this.
Yes.
If you show it love and thunder.
Okay.
All right, give it back to me in a tweet. Also, based on how successful your tweet is.
Oh no.
Thor 4, a Gorr war.
Yeah.
Want some more?
No.
Christian Bale.
Okay, great. Thor is no more. It's a Jane gang now, but we're much fonder of the Beyonder.
Yeah. My light applause.
Thank you. Thank you, Dad. Thank Grandma.
Yeah.
They're here today.
In preparation
Spirit
for
ghosts.
Galactus murder, Christian Bale is Silver Surfer.
Yeah. I think that rhyme gets a silver Rogie.
Ooh, no, he won't.
You
give
don't tell
it
me
to
you do, but you do get another quarter Rogie. Yeah, you're
I'll
almost at
take
half a
it.
Rogie.
We're building
take
this
it.
1/4 Rogie at a time.
That's right.
Yeah, let's take
40
life.
pizzas in 30 days.
Honestly, that's my best tweet yet. I'm really terrible at those, so.
Yeah, it is very good. Give it up for Marina, everybody. Yeah. Let's take a quick break.
Hey guys, Eric here, and new Rockstars' newest show that we're really excited for you to check out is The Big Question. Each week, we tackle one of the biggest nerd questions and apply science, numbers, and awkward logic to it. Like, when will Baby Yoda hit puberty? How many people does the Hulk kill when he claps too excitedly? Who did Palpatine bang? All these, plus we'll answer shorter questions that you can submit to us about our personal lives, or just nagging questions you had after Watchmen, or Witcher, or Westworld, or whatever It's also one of the funniest shows we've made. We always get boozed up. We let our editors make fun of us. If you haven't watched, definitely check it out. I think you'll love it. Again, it's called The Big Question, and you can watch it on YouTube or get audio versions on the podcast channel The Big Question, wherever you get your podcasts.
Guys, there is another kind of smaller MCU news that I want to dive into, but it actually has potentially a bigger impact on the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's because over the holidays, it came out that they're going to move WandaVision up sooner, like a lot. It was going to come out in 2021. Now somehow it's going to come out in 2020, which seems like crazy. If that mean that they shot it.
The PAs are working really hard.
Yeah.
It's because it's such a big, expensive project. They're spending as much money on these things as they're spending on the
They'll
movies.
just run a couple of effects companies under the ground. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we'll get it early, and the important thing is we get to watch our shows.
So this is a huge strategic move
Yeah.
for Kevin Feige. I want to know why. Why did he make this decision in universe? What does he need out of it in the MCU?
Well, I think this is a good sign for WandaVision. I feel like Kevin Feige must feel bullish on WandaVision
Right.
in order
Yeah.
to move it earlier.
You have to.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about how this theory that James Gunn getting fired screwed up all of their plans for Phase 4. And it forced Kevin Feige into a position where he wanted to lead with Guardians 3 as the kickoff movie of Phase 4, but because it had to be rescheduled, it forced him now to lead with things like the Black Widow movie, things like Falcon Winter Soldier, which look really cool and interesting, but they're kind of like espionage stories that don't really have like multiverse implications on the surface. So I think he's getting returns. He's seen early cuts of WandaVision, and he's thinking to himself, this show could be my introduction to the multiverse that I've been dreaming of. He kind of hinted this at Brazil's Comic-Con in December, like, we're now shooting 2 shows, both of which are going to be multiverse connected. I think he's really excited to introduce the Marvel multiverse, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse to the world. And I think WandaVision could be a show. So right now, all the art shows like Dick Van Dyke's sitcom, Suburbia, 1950s Suburbia. What if each episode of WandaVision is like a totally different genre? And that Suburbia is just episode 1. Episode 2 is like a crime noir.
Like
And
Community.
each taking place in a different universe.
Yeah, just like Community. And they could be, each is its own kind of like parody universe. And that sets up the idea of all the different shades of the Marvel multiverse that we can explore in these different Phase 4 films. You have like a horror film with Multiverse of Madness. You have another like cosmic rom-com with Thor: Love and Thunder. You have Blade coming up, which is like supernatural horror sometime in beyond 2021. So yeah, I think he's going to use WandaVision as kind of like the roadmap for how we're going to be able to look at Phase 4.
That's very
and he wants to bring it
cool.
up earlier in the calendar so that can kind of be his kickoff for Phase 4.
What are the implications of bringing it earlier, having a multiverse start earlier?
By letting this be the kickoff to Phase 4, it's a multiverse story as opposed to a mid-2000s spy movie set in
Phase 4,
Budapest.
you mean.
It's
Yeah, all of
isolated.
Phase 4. And if like the introduction to Phase 4 is about this character who's dead, Natasha Romanoff, and it's an interesting spy movie, but it doesn't really set up universe implications as much. It kind of feels like if you were to lead Phase 3 with The Winter Soldier, which is a great film, awesome, one of my favorite MCU films, but it doesn't really set up the universe as well as the first Avengers movie or like Civil War or like Doctor Strange or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
You can see how other movies could tie in with those. So by moving WandaVision earlier in the schedule, you have a story that's set in the multiverse, and by having each episode set in a different reality of that multiverse, you could start to see how each of these different movies in the Phase 4 and Phase 5 lineups could be set in each of those different realities.
Yeah, I see that. You're like drawing the lines where if Iron Man, when that came out, was to establish this idea that there is a world very similar to ours where people do heroic and then super heroic things, and then Avengers is like, and by the way, aliens are real, and space is actually a place we're going to play in. And you're saying that level of shift is about to happen with WandaVision. And it's going to be, and other universes are also part of our playground.
Yeah. I think before this strategy was, WandaVision will set up Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and they'll kind of be companion pieces. But now I think Kevin Feige, as we're in the middle of this gap period, he's feeling itchy and he's worried that Marvel fans are losing sense of what the multiverse is.
I agree.
And now he's seeing like returns from like as they're producing WandaVision, he's like, this could be the way I explain to the world what the multiverse is. And I don't want to wait till spring 2021. I want to do it before some of these other things come out.
I like it. One Rogie to
Yay!
Erik Voss.
Ooh.
Bang.
Good aim.
It shatters your cup.
I think
His
that
confidence.
the attention span is an excellent point there. I think the fact that like there's a little bit of a like we can't just keep saying this is further down the road. This has to happen soon because there's just so much competitive content. But this is more of a creative discussion. So for me, I think it's because the two shows, the reason they moved for WandaVision closer is because the two shows are going to be way more intertwined.
With Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes, with Falcon and Winter Soldier than we know right now. Because, I mean, just by looking at the art and like the promotional stills we've seen, they couldn't seem like two more different television shows, right? Like WandaVision, where it looks like this kind of high art, like abstract concept where we're kind of unsure, first of all, because Vision is dead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And so it's like, is Wanda imagining him? Is this a healing thing for her where she's created this kind of like external
Therapy,
world where she can go off to and like live with him and be happy? Kind of similar to like, I mean, we see this in Marvel all the time with the way like, what was it? Tahiti is like the place where they go to heal and it's all like in their brains and stuff. Is this just her version of that she can manifest with her powers? Or is there a larger, again, nefarious being that has them trapped or has her trapped and is using Vision to kind of torture her, but she doesn't realize it, so she's living out these day-to-day fantasy worlds, the same kind of tying in with yours, Eric, where it's a different genre each time, and she doesn't really realize she's in. There's a lot of great psychological fantasy movies where people don't realize they're in a prison of their own minds, and so this could be the next version
Cell.
of that. Yeah, like The Cell, or even what was that Cusack movie, 13th?
Those really good.
Or whatever,
1408 or Identity? Is
Yeah.
that
Identity is the one I'm thinking of.
Oh.
But yes, but where he is
fine.
where he's all the people.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I also liked your suggestion as well.
Okay, good.
And then I think that the tie-in will be that there's going to start to be rips in the fabric in the Winter Soldier and Falcon, and they're going to realize they have to rescue Wanda. So I think that's going to be that's where the two shows will converge at the end. And then I think probably like the penultimate episode will be a direct slingshot into the movies, I think, because Disney Plus is a little more prestigious than ABC television. You know what I mean? Like, so like, whereas Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was such a great companion show and really did kind of amazing things for a network television show, I think they're going to let it all hang out with Disney Plus shows. I think they're going to be very closely tied to the movies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to be like, we can only have these huge actors in these shows for a few moments. Obviously, they have the stars of the movies in these shows now. So I think it's going to be I think the reason they had to move WandaVision up is because it's too much information transfers between both shows, and if you watch them years apart from each other,
you'll forget.
And people this day and age don't seem to be willing to put that effort in. You know? Like people, it's out of sight, out of mind. So
it is interesting that you bring up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to be that connective tissue between the movies, and it would kind of set up the next movie, and there's a threat that we're seeing and coming, but no one was really watching it, and they were never allowed to even like say everyone's names. They would talk about like, the big guy.
Big green guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that this is another attempt at that, but here's what I mostly like about it is what did the MCU do? They that was just the brilliant move that everyone now is like, yeah, it's a no-brainer, is the post-credit scene, leaving every single movie on a cliffhanger. Of course they'll do that with the shows too, right?
Oh,
where each one is gonna like just leave you, oh, I need to see the next one. Tommy, I love it. Let's give you a silver Rogie.
Wow. Nice.
That's worth just 2 Rogies.
You can't tell Philip what to do, but he will rub it in.
He'll kind of do it, just do it a little different.
You want to lose this quarter, Rogie?
No!
My baby, I'm
I
growing
want
him.
my babies!
Marina, what you got?
Great. I think they moved up WandaVision specifically to tie in with the New Mutants movie, which actually I got this idea from Erik, because if you guys watch Erik's video of the breakdown of the trailer of New Mutants, honestly, you just say it as kind of like, not a throwaway, but like you say it at the end as kind of just like an offhand theory that you just kind of threw out.
I don't really know, but
but like watching that, I really like grasped onto it, and especially narratively, like as Tommy was saying, like I don't think Disney and Feige trust audiences to wait a year between things. So it's like, okay, New Mutants is coming out. Are we really going to wait a year to tie into everything else in Disney and to tie mutants into Disney? Like, no. So I think it's going to be what you just said, is that Feige's going to make the director of New Mutants put a post-credit scene in that has WandaVision, that has the Scarlet Witch in it, and she's the only one, because it's a straight-up horror movie. Like, New Mutants is a straight-up horror movie. And does that like tie in directly with the Disney, like the way that Disney movies look? No. But the way that you get around that, like you said, is that Scarlet Witch can see into different universes, different dimensions. So she's the only one who can see into this like horror dimension. So she sees it, and she can pop back in and out, come back in, you know, if she wants to make that a reality, visit it, bring people back from it. She can scoop those people
based
out.
on how that movie performs.
Yeah.
Based on how that movie performs.
Arya
right?
Stark will take you, but sorry, Stranger Things kid. Will.
But she can suck them out of that genre.
And bring them over, age them, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
Because
They
it's been a
shot
minute.
this in 2016.
Yeah.
And it also puts the stamp on it. Like, yeah, this is a Mutants movie, but and you're used to it not being Disney, but like being like, it's Disney. We own it. Here it is. And it doesn't have to be overly, like, the movie gets to stay the way that it is because it's already made. And by moving up the show, it's like, oh, great, they are actually connected. We're not just like telling you it's connected and then making you wait a really long time. It's going like, no, like we respect this enough to move up the show to show you that they really are connected and give fans what they think they want. And you know, people do have short attention spans, so I think it's a smart move story-wise.
I do like the idea that they're doing it because they need to make New Mutants make sense.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the biggest questions is like, great, everything's settled. You know, we told our Fox version of the mutant story, and then it kind of came to an end there in a, you know, not with a bang, but
gorgeous
Yeah.
film.
It's like the Green Lantern.
Gorgeous film.
No, and then they kind of were about to just do a nice switch over, and then they were like, wait, what do we do about New Mutants?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It kind of messed
Interesting,
everything up.
both these announcements came within a week of each other. We found out that WandaVision was going to be in 2020, and then like a couple days later,
Yeah.
Josh Boone is like, actually, New Mutants is coming in April 2020.
See?
There'll be a trailer next
Yeah,
week.
so
maybe
See?
the decisions
Kevin
were made in
Feige
sync.
has each movie represented as kind of like a roguey block or something on a table.
He's on a big map.
He's got
and
the
then
big map table. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And he's moving the pieces
He's
around.
like, how much do I own? I
Yeah.
own this, I own this. They're in a movie now.
Your two little baby roguies have grown up into
Yay!
one big roguie.
Wait, so did you just give her the same amount?
No, he was
No.
half a rogie before, now I have a full rogie.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it grew, and then
I'm sending him to college soon.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's not going to college anymore because it didn't know it was pregnant. It's got a little baby rogie.
Wow.
Yeah,
What a
no,
big
but it goes in the
ass.
butt.
Yeah.
that big ass.
No,
That
put it that way so you
rogie.
can see
All right, give him back to me in a tweet.
the butt. Oh.
Oh, I got it. Wanda no more. Feige's vision is 2020. I don't feel great about myself.
What was the your theory though?
Oh yeah,
You thought that to be part of it.
Falcon and Soldier getting bolder with Wanda joining the
You can do it.
party. WandaVision business decision. Disney goes broke with joke screening.
There you go.
Let's see. WandaVision bumped to the front of the MCU rollout because it will be our vision to the future of the
There you go.
multiverse.
Party.
Party. Joke. Broke.
Joke.
Why did I make it have to rhyme now? Now we're all doing it.
I've infected you all.
With hep.
WandaVision creates new debits because in the New Mutants movie, we get an end credits.
Yes.
scene.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, they're so hard.
new debit.
My powers. Someone bring me to my chamber. My powers have grown weak.
You say that at the end of every shoot.
Maybe we're sucking the rhyming power.
Guys, let us know in the comments if any of these made any sense.
Oh.
And review those tweets for us and let us know who won the tweet part of it.
Never.
But real quick, it's time for road questions.
Yay!
We'll go fast. Guys, Cats came out over the holidays and was shredded apart by the critics. Give me your best cat pun review headline.
Oh God.
Oh, didn't we just spend 10 minutes trying to do this?
Worst I've ever seen. No?
I think it's fine.
Okay.
The jellicle on this
Yeah.
studio to still release this trash.
This film should have been cat nipped in the bud.
Yay, there we go. One of these can be said without censoring. You got another Corduroy.
Yay! Twins!
Road question. Season 2 of The Mandalorian is rumored to have some cameos from the films. What Star Wars characters would you like to see cameo in Mandalorian Season 2? Quick.
I want to see the guy with the ice cream machine from Cloud City.
Oh, I want to see the space diner owner from Attack of the Clones. The guy with the handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see the grown-up kids who were like the Anakin's friends, the pod racing friends, but they're all
Gonna go
grown
play
up.
ball.
Yeah. All of those answers are incorrect. The correct answer was Babu Frick.
Oh,
Next question. Give me your best Babu Frick impression. Weird.
Hey, look at me. I'm Babu Frick.
Is that how he sounds?
No.
What?
hey!
Oh yeah, he's like he's I did it! Ah!
Babu Frick. Hey!
Babu! It's not that high, but it's like Babu.
Marina's was the closest.
Nice, yeah.
And another full stack.
Oh.
All right, great. Guys, that's it. That's how it is.
We did
just
it!
count them up and let's see who won this episode of Rogue Theory. Eric, what do you got?
I have 2 Rogie points.
I forgot to give you more. Well,
No, you didn't forget. This is what I
Your
earned.
disdain for Eric really bled through on his
no,
story.
I love Aaron. What? What's wrong with
I
that?
love Aaron too. He's the guy, our DP over there.
I've got one black, one silver, and a quarter rogie.
1, 2, 3.
3.25.
3.25.
1, 2.
And Marina, what do you got?
2.5.
Oh, wow, and her Babu Frick voice. So Tommy is our winner.
Yay!
Tommy's wish
That's
comes
the bottom
true.
line.
And just as we roll out, everyone is going to give Tommy a cool new nickname. And then I guess you can pick which one you get to keep.
All right.
But that's it for this episode of Rogue Theory. Thanks for going Rogue with us. Thanks so much to our guest, Erik Voss. Yeah.
I realized I had nothing to say, so it's just.
Yeah.
It's a sigh.
Marina Mastros.
Guys, I'm on Twitter at Marina Mastros. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And Tommy, false allegations, Bechtold.
I'm just taking one last look at my friend.
Where are you going, Tommy? No.
Weight loss camp. All right. Come on.
Where's he going? What's his nickname?
His nickname.
Sidestepping those allegations.
Why is that a cool new nickname?
I think it's pretty cool.
Tommy Two Tweets.
Yeah.
Tommy Two Tweets.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
Tickle me, Tommy.
Okay.
It's not an invitation.
No.
Tommy Big Boss Bechtold.
Yeah, that's fun. All right.
Boss.
Yeah, Tommy Bechtold.
What? Now you have to say it.
No, I can't. We would erase it immediately. I was just gonna make an accusation against you.
Oh my God!
And he didn't sidestep it.
He's so sweet. I don't know where everybody's getting
know.
these ideas. He's so sweet.
the sweetest.
Tommy Bechtold didn't kill himself.
I
And
don't
I'm
know how
Filup
these rumors
Molina.
got started, but he's right here.
Goodbye. No. For now.
Bye.